Good evening to you and happy to have you here on this Friday night. I'm Regina On. 17 people cannot go home tonight after an apartment fire in Spokane Valley. The fire burned 2 buildings at the Granite Court Apartments around 6:30 tonight. The Spokane Valley Fire Chief says everyone did get out safe and sound, but you can see in this video there was a lot of damage. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Right now, the Shore Acres fire is burning near Loon Lake. Currently, the blaze remains at just over 10 acres. And DNR crews are on scene tonight, well into the next few days. They will monitor the fire into tomorrow. Stevens County Fire District 1 says there will be a lot of smoke in the area tonight and tomorrow. The fire was first reported at around 2:30 this afternoon. It is burning near a public boat launch and Shore Acres Resort. It's important to keep in mind that burn restrictions are in place right now due to high temperatures in the forecast and the lack of rain in our area. Fire marshals around Spokane County all issued the restrictions this afternoon to reduce the number of human-caused wildfires. Unauthorized open burning and recreational fires are restricted until this order is lifted. If someone is found with an illegal burn, they could be charged with a misdemeanor. Turning now to a check on whether the red flag warning did end at 10 o'clock. So let's get to Thomas Patrick now. But Thomas, there is still some wind and that warm weather still continuing. So something to definitely keep an eye on, right?
Yeah, especially when it comes to the winds. In fact, that's the factor that our fire crews are always paying attention to most vitally, especially when they are fighting these flames like they are in Loon Lake for tonight and again for tomorrow, because these winds are still going to be feisty out there. In addition to that, it was also incredibly dry for our region as well. In fact, the National Weather Service on Twitter had mentioned that the relative humidity dropped to 8%, and anything below 10 is quite rare for the Spokane area. This actually marked one of the driest days that we had in 3 years for Spokane. You got to go back to 2017 to find when the relative humidity dropped below 10%. So very dry. It was also quite windy out there, gusts between 25 to 35 miles per hour. Tomorrow will replicate that in terms of the winds. It won't be quite as dry, thankfully, but those wind speeds will remain at around 25 miles per hour and could still gust up to 40 during the day for tomorrow. Thankfully, it won't be quite as warm, and when it's not as warm, the relative humidity isn't as low either, but highs only in the 60s for this weekend, a very drastic change from the 80s and 90s that we experienced pretty much all week long. So maybe a little bit of a break from the heat for now, but I'll show you just how quickly temperatures will recover into next week, all in just a few minutes.
Sounds good, Thomas. Thank you. Well, the town of Malden knows the destruction of a fast-moving wildfire far too well. The community is still recovering from the Babb Road fire, which destroyed the town last September. There has been progress in the recovery efforts. So new homes are up and the former post office building is now completely torn down. Team Rubicon, a disaster relief nonprofit, are spending the next couple of days removing damaged trees. So far, nearly 1,000 trees have been identified for removal, and that's just on public lands.
If we leave the trees that are dead that are completely brown, they'll just basically get to the point where they're a hazard and falling on things and causing more damage for this town.
And that cleanup effort will continue through the weekend. Malden residents can sign up for services by messaging Pine Creek Community Restoration Facebook page. Developing here tonight, some veterans in Washington who have the vaccine say they feel excluded from the state's lottery. The lottery will give out cash prizes of up to $1 million plus other cash and material items for people who are vaccinated. Morgan Trout spoke to a veteran who is hoping the loophole will be fixed.
Right now, it is unclear if those who got vaccinated with the VA are in the drawing. After years in the service, one veteran thought he was doing everything right, and now he feels excluded.
2 stripes.
Navy veteran Mike Driscoll got his COVID-19 vaccine through the VA Pharmacy Partnership, getting his first Moderna shot in January and then his second in February. But according to the website, he is not eligible for the drawing.
It definitely is unfair. The men and women who have served and all this good stuff that they're saying, yeah, we appreciate your service, but if we're not in the lottery, somebody's not completing the circle here.
Driscoll says he called the Health District, Department of Health, and the governor's office. He decided to call CREM 2 to investigate. On Thursday, state officials said that some VA records are in the DOH database, but not all. A spokesperson for Governor Inslee's office said the state has been working for some time to get the records for those who received their shots through federal programs. That data would make them eligible for the drawings. A spokesperson said these efforts are ongoing. Driscoll says if veterans can't be included in this lottery, a solution could be to have a separate one just for veterans. That way, everyone who is vaccinated in our community has a fair shot at getting some of that prize money. We at KREM 2 want to give you more to every story, so we will continue pressing the state for answers. In the newsroom, Morgan Trow, KREM 2 News.
While the incentives to get vaccinated are getting sweeter, there are growing concerns that the nation's mass immunization efforts have stalled. Idaho is one of the states with the lowest rates in the country. The pace of COVID-19 vaccinations has slowed in recent weeks, especially in the southern United States. Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama have the lowest percentages of adults who have received at least one dose. They're far behind the states with the highest vaccination rates, which are Vermont, Hawaii, and Massachusetts. The CDC is warning of a rise in the number of young people being hospitalized with COVID-19.
I strongly encourage parents to get their teens vaccinated, as I did mine.
And officials are aiming to get at least one dose to 70% of American adults by the 4th of July. Right now, that number stands at 63%. Coming up after the break, you can get another COVID vaccine after the Johnson & Johnson. Our Verified team finds out what the scientists know about vaccine mixing.